Good evening, welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Paul Kiritsis. I will now recite to you a few excerpts from Hesiod's Theogony. These are the parts that are directly related to what I spoke about in my last video on creation myths. This is from Myth and Knowing, an introduction to world mythology by Scott Leonard and Michael McClure. The beginning. The very first to exist was chaos, and then Ea, whose expansive lap is the ever-safe foundation of the immortal gods who live on the snowy peak of Olympus. And then dark Tartarus, deep in the earth with its expansive paths, and then Eros, the most beautiful of the gods, whose power loosens our bones, who controls the thoughts and decisions of every god and every man. From chaos came Erebus and Black Night, from night came air and day, whom she conceived and gave birth to from her love with Erebus. Then gave birth to someone her equal, the starry sky Uranos, so that he would cover her whole and be the ever-safe foundation of the blessed gods. She gave birth to the high mountains, where heavenly nymphs enjoy life in mountain valleys. But without the pleasure of love she bore Pontus, whose stormy waves are a barren sea. But then she slept with Uranos and bore ocean with his deep currents. Then Chios and Krios, Hyperion and Iapetos, and Thea and Rhea, and Themis and Mnemosyne, and Phoebe with her crown of gold, and lovely Tethys, and after these the youngest, the most dreadful of her children, Cronus, whose plans are crafty, and who hated his powerful father. This is from a section where Cronus overcomes his father Uranos. All the children that Ea and Uranos had were dreadful, and from the moment they were born, their father hated them. So as soon as they were born, he hid them, not letting them see the light, from deep down in Ea. And Uranos enjoyed his evil, but huge Ea, confined and groaning from within, thought of something cunning and evil. Quickly making a kind of grey steel, she forged a great sickle and showed it to her children. She spoke to them, to give them courage, though her heart was sad. "My children, your father is wicked, but if you're willing to listen to me, we can get revenge for this evil and outrageous thing your father's done, as he was the first to plan those shameful things." This is what she said, and her children were immensely scared. Not one of them uttered a word, but great Cronus, whose plans are crafty, stood up and spoke these words to his dear mother. "Mother, I promise I'll finish this, since I don't give a damn about my father, as he was the first to plan these shameful things." This is what he said, and huge Ea's heart was very happy, so she hid him by putting him in a bush, and in his hands she put the sickle, its blade like jagged teeth, and told him the whole plan, with all its deceit. Bringing on the night, great Uranos came, and eager for love, he caught hold of Ea on all sides, and she was stretched in every direction. But from the bush his son stretched out, his left hand with his right, holding the huge sickle, long and jagged, quickly cut off his own father's penis, and threw it back so that it went behind him. It didn't leave his hand without purpose, as Ea received all the drops of blood that hemorrhaged. And when a year had passed, she produced the powerful Furies and the great giants, shining in their armour, long spears in their hands, and the nymphs who were called Melian, throughout the expanse of the earth, and the penis he'd first cut off with the steel sickle he threw out into the wild sea from the mainland, and it drifted in the ocean for a long time. But then from this immortal flesh a white foam grew all around, and from within a girl was born. Both gods and men called her Aphrodite, as she was born in Aphros. This is from the section where Zeus overcomes his father Cronus. Cronus subdued Rhea, who gave birth to famous children, Hestia, Demeter, and Hera, with her sandals of gold, and powerful Hades, who with his merciless heart lives under the ground, and earth-pounding Poseidon and Oceaeus, and Zeus with all his wise plans, the father of both gods and men, whose thunder shakes the expansive earth. But great Cronus swallowed them down as each came out of Rhea's holy womb and fell on their knees. He did this so that no other royal descendant of Uranos would have the right to his throne. For he'd learnt before from Ea and starry Uranos that, even though he was strong, It was his destiny to be overcome by his son through the intentions of great Zeus. So Cronus kept careful watch and swallowed down his children whilst Rhea felt a pain she couldn't forget. But when she was to give birth to Zeus, father of both gods and men, she asked her parents for a plan, how she might give birth to her child without Cronus knowing, and how one of the furies of her father might get revenge. They listened to their daughter and agreed, both of them, to explain just what was fated for King Cronus and her son with his powerful heart. So they sent her to Lyctos, in the rich land of Crete, where she was just about to give birth to the great Zeus, the last of her children. And there huge Rhea received him on the broad shores of Crete to nurse and raise him. She brought him there to Lyctos first under the cover of night, and taking him in her hands she hid him deep in a cave in the depths of holy earth on Mount Aegion with its thick woods. She then wrapped a great stone in baby's clothes and gave this to the great lord, the son of Uranos, the king of the former gods. He took it in his hands and put it down into his gut, cruel god, who didn't see that the stone was not his son, that his son was still alive, not troubled, unable to be defeated, that his son would overcome him with his bare hands by brute force and take revenge, that his own son would be lord of the immortals. And so Zeus's strength grew, and glistening arms and legs grew quickly. And when a year had passed, great Cronus, whose plans are crafty, but whom Rhea's wiser plans deceived, spit up his children. And first was the stone, the last he'd swallowed, which Zeus set up on the earth with its wide paths, at the sanctuary of Bithor in the valley beneath Mount Parnassus. He left it as a sign, a wonder to mortals. And that concludes the little excerpt that I chose to read. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you next time for something else. See you then.